Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Voice by Matt show. My name is Matt Bertho. I am your host. And today I have a guy from New York, I found out, played some hockey, Jonathan Fodera. Welcome to the
hmm
show, man.
Hey, Matt, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here. And really, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I mean, Brothers and Arate Syndicate, right? So,
Yeah.
Jonathan, when did you join Arate? We didn't talk about that part yet.
I'm pretty sure 19, the same time you did.
Yeah.
So I
Freaking
went
awesome.
straight in. Yeah, I went straight into the syndicate. And every single year since I've been in Arate, I've had real explosive growth. And some of it wasn't just business. It actually impacted how I'm a dad and things I do with my kids. It actually got me to leave a toxic partnership and rebrand and start integrated. So a lot
Wow,
of really
dude.
great things. Yeah, man. Big changes since I joined.
Um, we listen to these calls. We can't get into the like deets of what we learn in Arate, but our actions show it. You can tell the people that have been in it for a while and the people that are still learning. It's kind of fun to watch the progression of
Yep.
the kind of the people that learn. But I think that says a lot about Arate too. Like it's a
Does.
program, it's a system, it's a teaching
Yeah.
tool.
And,
Um,
and here's the cool thing. I when the same messages come up, because we've been on the calls, it's amazing you could find one or two things that to implement that maybe you didn't fully implement the first time around or the second time around. So there's always something you could do, learn from, and improve.
yeah, it's completely changed my life too. We have very similar stories actually. So that's kind of crazy, man. This show is about finding your voice, and it sounds
Mhm.
like you've found your voice. It sounds like you've been on a journey to find it, and I know that part of being in the Arte Syndicate, being around people like us, we are suckers for growth, man. And
Mhm.
people that are constantly trying to grow gets uncomfortable. And talk to us about your journey. Like where did you grow up? Like your origin, like high school, college.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, happy to. So I grew up in Long Island, New York. My mother was the breadwinner. She worked on Wall Street. She supported three families. My dad, he was in a picture. He would come out on the weekends.
Supported three families.
Yeah, yep. My two aunts live with us and their families.
Whoa.
Yep.
What a mom.
Yeah, she was amazing. She was the best. And long story short, my dad also had like the whole Wall Street pedigree. My whole family did, and then all of a sudden, he let drinking get the best of him. Um, very long fall from grace. Super ugly growing up. Learned a lot of what not to do.
Mm.
Recently, I'd say in the last 10 years, he had a medical, he had a heart attack or something that put him in the hospital and it made him stop drinking. And so he hasn't drank in 10 years, but that's
Whoa.
still, it's still there. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, polarizing. I wouldn't say opposites, but pretty close to opposites.
Um, Man, Jonathan, we're a lot alike. My dad, um, kind of covered up his emotional scars. My grandfather, when I was in high school, he shot himself and committed suicide. He didn't talk
Right.
about his feelings. My dad didn't really deal with that real well, and so he drank a
Yeah.
lot. And in 2020, in June, my dad passed away from the widowmaker heart attack.
Got it. So,
Um, and so, my dad never talked about it, never used his voice to talk about it. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm
yeah.
doing this job, to help people find their voice and share their emotions. So, dude, like your dad, he got a second chance.
Yeah. Yeah. He did. He did. That was cool of him. And, I don't know. I'm happy he got a second chance, right? But there's just, yeah. Actually, I spoke to Ed about this really because Ed got it, and it was at one of the syndicate events, and he told me, you don't forget, but you certainly forgive, and make it the best you can with what's going on because it's something I've always struggled with. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
can feel it. Like how long did it take you to forgive him?
I don't know if I have,
Yeah,
right?
like that's what I'm
So
feeling, man. Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't. To be honest, dude, I don't really know. I don't talk about it. I always think that I learned a lot of the great stuff from my mom.
yeah.
I learned a lot of the shit not to do from my dad, and
Well,
I
let's
know
let
he tried his best, but he was sick, right?
let's frame
So
that, dude. Like, so
what
like
people don't
what
understand. Go
go ahead.
on. Oh, you go.
I was going to say with how you are a father now to your kids. How many kids do you have, Jonathan?
I have two with one on the way.
Oh, congrats, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't even announced that. This is all coming out here. So
That happens with me a lot, Jonathan. So,
yeah.
your two kids, how old are they?
The oldest is 9. The for now youngest is 5, turning 6 in February. And
Okay.
I got a girl on the I have two boys and a girl on the way in the end
Whoa,
of May.
that's going to change the game.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited,
I have
and
two
then I'm done.
boys.
Yeah,
Max, he's 14, and Leo's 8.
there you go.
So, what did your dad and the mess ups and the things that he went through, what did he teach you to do well for your children now?
Um, he did show up to everything that was on the weekend, so I mean that's something I take from him. Um, but for the most part, I don't drink. I'll drink here and there at an event,
Yep.
but I don't like to drink at home. Keep that away from the kids.
Wow.
Try to do as much as I can with the kids, meaning like physically, like getting outside. I'll tell you what I did recently. I wanted my oldest, who's 9, Jonathan, to learn how to operate a business. So I bought him for Christmas. I got him a 3D printer.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I'm going through and teaching him all the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, and I mean, it's hysterical. I caught him. We set it up yesterday, and today we woke up and he was asleep in my office, meaning we didn't know where he went. He was nowhere in the house. All of a sudden, we find him passed out on his office chair because he woke up in the middle of the night and decided he wants to get some work done. It's hysterical.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, he's got your work ethic, man.
Well, he's got something of mine. We'll see.
He's
It's
got
gonna be
some
fun.
drive for sure, man. So what other
Yeah.
what other lessons did you learn?
From that, I mean, I'll tell you from Ed, I learned always tell your kids about him, right? So I do that every day. I've
Mm.
done that every day for probably almost a year now,
Mm.
without fail. So that's
Wait,
pretty
hold on.
cool.
So when he said tell your kids about him, what does he mean by that?
Tell them unique things about them that they know to be true,
Mm.
just like he does. So I tell them, I tell them that they're smart, they're intelligent, they work hard, everything that a
Ah.
kid actually needs to hear. And it's true, right? And you pick up little things along the way,
Mm.
and it's amazing when you go to these events or you go to anywhere. You can listen to what's being said, and then you can kind of read in between the lines
Yeah.
and pick up other things that might not be center focus, like how they operate, like with their family or within their team, right? And when you've been going to them long enough, you pick up these little nuggets here and there. And sometimes they're directly said, sometimes it's something indirectly said. But
Mm.
I think that's helped tremendously with, being a good dad, to my boys.
Yeah.
Right. So that's helped.
Well, already, Jonathan, you are given a lot of love and truth. to people listen to this podcast right now. And I really appreciate you being so vulnerable and so open. You said you would when before we started rolling the tape, and you're a man of your word already, man. I feel like I can go pretty much anywhere with you right now. Um,
Yeah.
so that's so important in my line of work for a man, for you, to
Mhm.
share these truths and these emotions. And thank you for feeling comfortable enough to go with me on that.
Yeah, of course.
I,
I mean,
I, uh, I encourage you to share this story, um, because there are a lot of us out there that have had family members that drink a lot, that, you know, dads, or in my case, um, dad was working a lot, and when he would come home, he'd drink and he'd make chicken on the grill, and I didn't ever want people to come over. That's the truth.
yep.
And but he did teach me some valuable things, like go outside and play with the kids, play with the kids, cook, teach the kids how to cook. You know, so
Yeah.
it's there's some things he did way better than me, like, taking my kids fishing. I haven't got to do that yet because, I'm busy, and the job gets in the way sometimes, right? Um, so thank you for opening that up, because I think people are going to need to hear that.
Yeah. I appreciate
Um,
that.
so
Yeah.
fast forward, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, I was going to say that's how I grew up. Played hockey, did really, growing up, my rules in school were, hey, don't get anyone pregnant, don't get arrested, do good in school, and do good in hockey, and that was
Yeah.
it. So I came up a little bit crazier than most people would come up.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no doubt about that. I was really good at getting into trouble from, let's say, 13 or 14 till early 20s,
Yeah.
and also in that time, I worked on Wall Street for a little bit, realized I hated it. I thought I wanted to be in the family business. I didn't.
What'd you hate about it?
Honestly, the commute. The commute. I started high frequency trading, okay, which is what you see some people make movies about, like just in and out trades, trading millions of shares a day and
Wow.
just scalping, okay. And we started with probably 60 to 80 people in one class. And after about 8 months, it was down to me and one other guy.
Holy
And
crap.
yeah, and I was commuting 2 hours in and then 2 hours home. And I was like, I'm not doing this. So I got recruited to go and be an underwriter of all things in business lending. And I hated that too, but it allowed me to get into sales. Sales is where I had a gift. And then I worked for a lot of these big fintech companies, building out their internal sales teams or as a consultant. And basically, I got screwed a lot. So my first place, my equity was going to vest in 2 weeks. They let me go 2 weeks before intentionally. Then I went to a partnership, had something very similar where I caught one of the main partners, one of the majority owners, embezzling about $500,000. Note to you guys: if you're going to steal from your partners, don't have your partners' accountants do the books. It's just, if you want to get away with it. So then I went back to working for these banks, and one told me I made too much money. They weren't paying me any type of commissions. And so what happened was I kept bouncing from place to place, and realizing every time that it wasn't a right fit for me and it wasn't a right fit for all the clients. Because the problem is when you go into any bank or any fintech company, you're a number.
Yeah, I
And
don't know what
then,
fintech means, Jonathan. What does that
yeah,
mean?
yeah, finance and technology.
Got it.
So any online lending platform for the
Got
most
it.
part. Okay. And so what I did was I reverse engineered basically lending a marketplace that anyone can go to, and you can get access to any program that you qualify for, whatever's going to make the most sense. And I built it with the idea of the end user or end client in mind and built it from the ground up, which is integrated business finance. And it took about, I had to rebrand. The rebrand took me a little bit because it was Sprout Lending. Um, Rebranded about 3 years ago, maybe a little bit more, and it's been steady growth and gangbusters from there. And that's really the origin story, if you will. And then somewhere along the lines, looking back on what made me grow up, what made me go from young kid always getting in trouble playing hockey and going to school to running a business. Well, my mom in I think 2012 went for a routine sleep apnea test, found out she had stage 4 stomach cancer, and we basically had 6 months with her, left. And one of the things that I didn't realize was how much she did and how many people depended on her.
Oh
So I
man.
had to run that household at like 23 or 24 that
Oh
was supporting
man.
it. And that basically made me grow up overnight. That and finding then my girlfriend, now my wife. And that's kind of what made me grow up and say, hey, I got to stop getting into everything and just focus on building a career, helping people, and obviously dealing with a whole lot more responsibility than I was used to.
All right, that's a lot to unpack in my brain.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
So
that's the origin story.
no, I
So,
love it. I love it. So did mom pass away?
yeah, mom passed away that
Yeah.
year.
And I can't even imagine emotionally your hero,
Yeah.
and then you have to take all the responsibility for your aunts. And did they have kids?
Yep.
And so how many people are we talking that Jonathan was taking
Well,
care of?
I mean, they they also helped. This is not me just providing for everybody. They also
Okay.
helped, right? So we had a very large house. It was a mother daughter, and they lived in the quote unquote daughter part, right? But there was three, probably six others, and then I have a brother and a sister myself. So it was definitely an adjustment. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I know that when we lose a parent, because I've, it rocked me. It like killed
Yeah.
me. And I've just recently started to really recover from that. But it was a lot of crazy work, man. Like therapy, ayahuasca ceremonies, two of them. Tried to climb the equivalent of Mount Everest. Um, like, and time does
Mhm.
heal. And people like you and me that don't have a lot of patience, I don't want to wait on that, you know?
Yeah. No.
And so thank you for sharing that. And, um, Ben Newman, he talks about his mom a lot, and
Yeah.
that's his burn, right?
Yep.
What's the biggest lesson or one of the biggest lessons that you learned from your mom?
Um, how to be head of a household, right? How to be, the breadwinner and go above and beyond for your family. I mean, that's definitely what I took from that.
Hmm.
And it's crazy, but like at the time you're in it, you don't realize that's what you're learning or that's what's going on. And so looking like after the fact, it's definitely where I learned and had the most growth,
Hmm.
but you don't know that at the time. You have no idea that that's what's going on.
It's like, I mean, it's, a kid's worst fear.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was a young adult when it happened, but it doesn't change it
No.
any more or any less.
And it makes more sense about kind of some bitterness, resentment with your dad.
A little bit. A
I
little
get it.
bit,
I
right?
get it.
It's just knowing how I am with my kids. It's very challenging to look at it from a different parental view or mindset. You know what I mean? So you compare one to the other, and it is challenging, right? Like, oh, that happened. That would never happen with my kids. You know what I mean? It's something that you think about all the time.
Well, I mean, we hear it all the time, right? You're the change. You're the change to your
Mhm.
family tree. You literally
Yeah,
are. I am too.
yeah,
That's our responsibility. And for everybody listening, it sucks sometimes. It's hard.
yeah. It ain't, it's not always easy. No one gave you a fucking manual or a playbook. Can I curse on this? Is that
Yeah,
cool?
I don't care.
Okay, all right. I
Yeah,
can't. It's
there's no playbook to what you're doing at all.
no,
There's definitely
nope.
no playbook for me either.
Yeah, that's the truth, you know? And so basically, like over the years, compiling all this, I learned a lot about business and entrepreneurship and how to effectively help more entrepreneurs, right?
Mhm.
And that's always been important to me. Growing up, I didn't understand it. I know I wanted to help, I wanted to make a difference, I wanted to make a giant impact.
Yeah, yeah.
But let's face it, you really don't know what that's going to be. And for the most part, I would assume most kids think that it's going to be the sport that they play that they're really into. For the longest time, I thought that was what I was going to do with hockey, and it wasn't. But you know what? I learned a ton from playing at a very high level, right? You learn what it takes to make it to certain levels. It's no different in business, right? Preparing and playing the sport of business versus playing any other sport, you have all the same parallels. You need work ethic, you need a plan, you need a mission, you need to learn how to work with a team.
Yep.
And so a lot of it translated. And so that's where I have put all of my tendencies and all the skills that I have accumulated over the years, through this origin story, if you will, the ups and the
Mm.
downs. And there's been a lot of ups, there's been a lot of downs. And I think you just learn from those downs what doesn't work and how to move forward on a path that does work or that is aligned with you, and it's been great. It's been fun.
Man, dude. This is so good. Like this is so much fun, Jonathan. Like yeah, I didn't know what I was gonna get. I've never really met you before, man. This is amazing. Like you're an awesome, awesome dude, and I'm very thankful
Appreciate that.
already for these moments that we've had together. What position do you play in hockey?
Uh, um, what's the best position? Probably
Yeah.
center.
Oh yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
Uh, yeah, but I play everything. I play center, offense, defense, wing. It's I don't know. I always gravitated towards it. I always liked it. But for the most part, I still play probably 2 or 3 times a week just to. Why do I do that? I do it so it keeps my stress down, right? Because it's the one place I go beat the shit out of somebody. That
I
and martial arts, which I still do,
I get that.
uh, where I can get that out, get that energy out, and not go to jail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's important.
Um. So, Jonathan, you kind of stepped into some questions I want to ask you that I ask everybody on the show generally, because we've come to this point now. Now, Jonathan is helping business leaders and business owners with lending, correct?
Hmm. Yep,
Um,
lending and growth.
how big of a company are you helping? Just like me, single Matt Bertho, voice coach. Like if I need help with lending, like I can go to Jonathan and Jonathan helps me.
Hmm. I do everything from startup to 9, 10 figure company, right?
Wow.
But what happens on, let's say, an 8 or 9 figure company, most of my clients I would say are in the 7 figure range. Okay. The majority. However, startups, that varies. And there's something for everybody, right? Maybe that larger company needs an SBA loan to consolidate that, or maybe they need invoice factoring to speed up their receivables. But for the most part, most of my clients, I would say, are in that seven-figure range. And then you have a couple startups and maybe a couple people under, and then you have some in like the 8, 9-figure range.
Okay. So if you were to talk to a group and I
Mhm.
asked you, Jonathan, what do you do? And break it down as simple as possible for them.
I get people approved for the best program they're going to qualify for.
And so program meaning what?
Any type of lending. So an SBA loan, a line of credit, equipment financing, invoice factoring, working capital, a term loan. What people don't understand is when you're building a business, it's like building a house, right? If you don't have a foundation, you're not going to have a sturdy house. Well, you can't build a foundation with just a hammer. Okay. Well, you can't build a business with just a loan. Okay. There are several different
Got
programs
it.
that you have to lock into, and each program has a different use. So if you're B2B and you're net 15 or net 30 and you need to grow, you probably need to set up invoice factoring, right? If you're trying to buy a business or buy a competitor, you'd use an SBA loan. People don't understand how the programs work. That's the biggest challenge that we face is people use the wrong programs or they're not qualified when they go to apply because they don't check certain metrics. Okay. And as much as what I do, the main part of what I do is the lending and helping people grow and helping people either get out of situations or grow exponentially. The base to all of it is knowledge and using the right programs. And my best clients are actually the most educated. So the guys that actually know, hey, this is what I need, those are the easiest clients for me to deal with.
Ah,
The ones that don't understand how the programs operate or when to use which program or even where they are in the process, those are always the toughest ones because they might not know their credit. They might not know their business credit. They might not know where they're weak. Okay. And so what I've done recently and what I'm pushing in 24 is a program called Capital Tools. Capital
capital
Tools
tools.
yep, Capital Tools. It goes over absolutely everything. So what's an SBA loan? How to use it, when to use it, what are the qualifications, what do you need? Okay. Same thing with term loans, same thing with family office funding, working capital, invoice factoring. I teach people how to check and use their business credit, how to decide when you should take financing versus when you should hold off. Like
Wow.
I basically did 8 to 10 hours, probably more, and I keep adding to it, right? Keep adding about all the different programs. We do a strategy session. Like we put everything in one spot so people can actually use that program and figure out and map out how to grow their business with the different programs.
Dude,
All
that's
right.
amazing.
It's what I'm most excited about heading into 24 because the more people get their hands on that, selfishly, it's going to be easier for me to help them.
Yeah.
Okay. But also, they'll have access to a private Facebook group where they can ask questions. They get a one on one strategy session thrown in. And I just want to see small business owners win because when they win, our country wins.
Yeah,
Right. People don't
man.
understand small business employs more than half of our workforce.
Yeah.
So the small business owners, the guys like me and you, dictate so much of what goes on in this country based on how we operate our companies. And that's where I felt called to make my impact.
Wow, that's freaking awesome. Because you're talking about all these acronyms and all this stuff, and my brain was going, "Oh my god, I have no idea what he's talking about." And then that was going to be one of my questions. I was like, Jonathan, can you teach us? And um, I could tell you're very passionate about this. I assume because you had to learn this too, correct?
Yes, but I
Yeah.
learned it the hard way.
Mm. Yeah.
Making the mistakes, seeing
Yeah.
seeing entrepreneurs make the mistakes. You know, it's crazy. One of the coolest things about my business is any given month, I've analyzed another 500 to 1,000 businesses, right? Think about doing
Whoa.
that over 15 years. Okay. How many businesses I've seen, the ins and outs.
Well, I mean, that's amazing because I already know where you're going with it. I like, because I know, like, because I worked with so many people one on one for the last 20 years,
Mhm.
I already know just by getting a bird's eye view of what they should turn out like.
Yeah. Yep.
So you're able to do that with businesses to look at their business and be like, okay, here are your holes. Here's what you need to work on. And then
Yep.
you give them a prescription and then they grow.
Correct. Correct. If I had a redacted one, I could show you what a one-on-one strategy session looks like, but I don't.
That's all right.
Uh, Basically, we use all the same softwares that the banks use. We throw it in an Excel spreadsheet. It shows everyone's cash flow, deposits, average daily balances, their business credit, their personal credit, just everything. And we
Woo!
work off that sheet exclusively to kind of show everyone, hey, this is where your revenues are. This is how much you're keeping in the bank. This is how many deposits. This is what you need to adjust to get these programs. And we break it down to the minutia so people understand how they can hit their targets and their goals.
That's exciting. That you simplified something very complex.
We try to.
That's genius.
We try
That's
to.
genius.
We
Okay,
try to.
so I'm not going to waste any more time here because I want to get to these questions. All right,
Okay.
because you know you guys need to check out Jonathan's program, Capital Tools. It's going to be launching in 2024 in January.
I did a soft launch, so they can go
Soft
in and get
launch.
it now.
And where can they get that?
I actually sent you it on Messenger. I'm sure hopefully put it in the show notes, but it's
Yeah,
give me 1 second here. It's thecapitaltoolsprogram.com/home.
perfect. Well, you got me excited. And I'm not, I don't get that excited about talking about money, man. Financial stuff about my business, you know.
Yeah.
Um, Angela, she's amazing. Angela Goodman, you know her.
Oh
And
yeah, she's a rock
she,
star.
she helps me with my financial stuff. And man, when she starts talking to me about it, I'm like, ugh, I get so clammed up. I'm like, she's like, it's okay. We're gonna work through this. I'm like, okay. And
Yep.
and I have grown
Yeah.
based on the knowledge that, you know, because we don't know. And that's why we
Yeah.
need you to help us understand how to, it sounds like how to scale our business a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, like it's not taught in high school
No.
intentionally. And for the most part, I don't think it's people are uncomfortable talking about money and credit.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And that's a stigma that I think we have to change as a whole. Because if you don't, we're always going to be stuck in the same patterns and the same shit. Right. You're never going to know what the real problem is. Sometimes it's subconscious things like, hey, like that thermostat, right? We're all set to a certain thermostat. Well, personally, we're set to a thermostat, and the business is usually set to a thermostat. If you don't understand how to adjust that and what to turn and how to turn it, you're always going to struggle. And a
Mhm.
lot of it comes down to, well, the first thing you have to do is talk about it. What are the problems? What are you experiencing? Where are there holes in the boat that need to be plugged?
Yeah.
Right. And without going in that, you're no one's going to be helping you unless they can actually diagnose that first.
So Jonathan, for these strategy sessions, because I know what I do, they get me. Do they get you on a strategy session?
They get me on a strategy
Wow.
side. At least the first, let's say 50 to 100.
That's big time.
Yeah. After that, it'll probably go to someone on my team. But I can tell you, my team is just as good, if not better than I am.
How many are on your team, Jonathan?
Internally, we have 7.
Okay.
Externally, there's probably 14. So
Nice.
I have a inside is all W-2, outside is all 1099.
Yeah, man.
But everyone goes through the same training,
This is
the
exciting.
same, yeah,
I see it. I feel it. All right. So
I'm excited about it.
so let's get to know you a little bit more because we're gonna close up here in a little bit. I always
Okay.
ask four questions. I've done it since I was a public school teacher. When I started teaching, I started asking these four questions. Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with the first one. Is gonna be what makes you tick, like what gives you joy, Jonathan, in
My
life.
kids.
Yeah.
That's it.
Family.
Yeah. Family. My kids.
Yeah. What do you love? What do you love more than anything in the world?
My kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dead
No, I
serious. I
love
mean,
this. I love
I
this.
don't mean to overly simplify complex questions, but
Yeah.
my driving force behind everything I do is my kids, and I want to build a legacy for them. Right? I want
Okay.
them to look back and say, "Hey, my dad helped all these people. This is what he did. This,
Boom.
you know."
So you kind of segued into the next one. What are your purposes? Because we have multiple purposes on Earth. I've learned that in the last 2 or 3 months. But
Yeah.
what are your purposes?
I think my purpose is to support small business and help entrepreneurs achieve their dreams. The second part is, or the second purpose is to change the family. Like my family was good. I want them to be fucking excellent,
Yeah.
right? And so the next part is starting a legacy for my kids to,
Mm,
you know, operate and find their footing within what I started to build.
mm,
Or just take it and completely do whatever's going to make them happy as long as it's positive. Right. I definitely don't want my kids sitting in here or doing the same thing I am doing because they think it's the family business.
mm.
Because I don't want them to feel pigeonholed.
Yeah.
I felt that way growing up.
Yeah.
And
And you
it only
tried it.
took me a couple months. Yeah, I tried. It only lasted 6 to 8 months. I don't even want them to go through that. Like if
Mm.
they like it, great. Here you go. If not, no big deal.
Yeah, you're a great father, dude. I mean, I get that. I like I said, I wrestled. I was on a 4-time state champion team. I was a state champion myself,
There you
and I
go.
took my son Max to wrestling, and
Yeah,
I watched him and I watched him, and then I was like, this is not his jam, man. This is not it for
yeah,
him. Um, and so I just told him I was like, you don't, I can tell that this is not fulfilling to you. We need to try something else.
yeah.
But that's a hard lesson for us as fathers
Oh yeah.
to go through.
Yep.
Um, and the last question, and then we'll lighten it up here for everybody. Why is Jonathan on Earth?
Make it better.
How so?
To I believe I was given certain gifts and certain attributes that allow me to help on a different level than other people.
Mm,
Right? I can just see things, especially when it comes to business, that maybe other people don't see or can't see, and that's helped me a ton to carry out what I have to do.
yeah, let's dive into that. Let's go. Let's take a deep dive. How do you cultivate that? Because I know what I have to do every day.
Honestly, I don't really cultivate it. I mean, I visualize. I have a vision board.
Okay.
I talk about it in team meetings, but for the most part, I wake up and I know like, hey, this is what I have to do. This is
Hmm.
why I'm doing it. I don't wake up confused. Let's put it that way.
Is there like a faith that you have, Jonathan?
Yeah, yeah, I would say that. I believe in God, and I believe that
Hmm.
I was put here to help people, and just knowing that is usually enough to do everything I need to get done.
Yeah, man. I I am very blown away right now. Just because I was in sales too, growing up in college, and I chose to teach. I had a choice to go make money or go teach. And one of my mentors said, the best thing you can do in your life is help somebody else. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to teach. But
Yeah.
Jonathan, I just want to tell you, I hope that you know this, that you're a teacher, that, um, you have a passion to help people, and you're also a visionary, and you see what businesses can be,
Yeah.
what they could be. And that's really inspiring to me that you're so raw and driven about it. You're tough about it. Um, and I love that you wear your heart on your sleeve, because I can just imagine what your team meetings are like, getting people fired up, because you're talking about something that can be quite boring sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's numbers.
Yeah.
It's for the most part it's boring.
But
You know.
you have mentioned multiple times family.
Yep.
I mean, helping small business owners like me. Um,
Yeah.
I
The joy is a result that is provided after the fact, right? That's how you know. If I helped you with an SBA loan, you go out and hire three people, right? I don't know right away. I'll know in 6 months.
yeah.
No, I'm serious. I'll know in 6 months. Like you'll come back in 6 months. Hey man, everything's going really well. Hired these people. Now I need a line of credit, right? That's how I check in on clients. They usually come back, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we need. By the way, this worked, this didn't work, right? And to me, that's incredibly rewarding.
Oh wow, Jonathan. It's just really refreshing to find somebody as passionate about what they do as me. And there's a lot of people out there that are stuck. They get
Yeah,
stuck in just doing the Groundhog Day thing.
yeah, right. That's the
Yeah.
truth. That's the
Um,
truth.
we were talking about Kansas City barbecue before we
Yes,
get
we.
on here, because Jonathan is a speaker also, and it sounds like he's doing some speaking events. Can you talk a little bit
Yep.
about that?
Um, yeah, I can. This one is not to the I would say open to the public, but this is
Okay.
it is a very, very large franchise that I'm going to be doing all their financing for.
Okay.
And so they're headquartered by you. And so basically the owner asked me to do a favor for them. I did the favor. We're actually in the process of doing the favor. And he said, well, these guys didn't get the job done. You did. I want you to speak to I think there's like 3,000 entrepreneurs. So they're like,
Let's
hey,
go, Jonathan.
yeah. So like, I want you to speak on this and this and this, and you're going to be our finance guy for everything related to the franchise. I'm like, okay, cool.
Let's
So that's a
go.
nice one. That's
Yeah.
fun. That should be a fun speaking engagement.
Oh man. So what do you got coming up for the future? You got the 2024 Capital Tools coming out. You got that
Just
speaking.
that. It's just that and that one speaking engagement, and then I'm sure what happens is people throw events, and then I'll get invited to speak at some of those events throughout the year. I
Yeah.
might speak 4 to 8 times, and that's a good range. Anything I don't want to be traveling more than once a month.
I feel you.
Yeah, you
I'm
know how
learning
that
that.
is.
I'm learning that right now. Big time.
Yeah,
Cuz you got a girl on
yep,
the way.
yeah. Oh well, my wife already said from I think February or April to birth, do not travel.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
I got a blackout. I
Yeah,
got
that's
about three
great.
months blocked out.
That's great. That's freaking awesome. You don't get to
Yeah.
see that moment again, you know?
No,
It happens
you
once.
don't. No. I remember
Um,
both of the first two very vividly.
yeah, dude, I'm gonna tell you, like, in my gratitude practice I do, there's a couple, you're supposed to think about a couple moments that were the most amazing moments of your life. It's when
Yeah.
Max was born and when Leo was
Yeah.
born.
Yeah.
That just you can't. I think that the moms have talked about this before, but they get to live with the child, and they have them in their womb, and they get to have this connection with the child, and we're like, cool, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then it comes out, and you see its face, and you're like, oh, whoa, tears, just
Yeah.
immediate,
Yeah.
right? Well,
Yeah.
Jonathan, I don't want to, take too much more of your time, but if you could leave us with any words of wisdom, any kind of thoughts.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Absolutely. What I will tell you is there's a lot of people that are struggling right now. Okay. I see it in who comes and who applies. Are people applying for growth, or are they applying because there's some problem they're trying to solve? Okay. And what I want to leave everybody with is no matter where you end 23 and go into 24, you can do and accomplish a lot more than you think you can in a year. I'll give you guys one quick example. So end of 22 going into 23, I had two failed gym franchises. Okay. Awful experience, awful everything. We lost me and my two partners lost about 1.8 million on the venture.
Holy
Okay.
crap.
I was probably 200 or 300K in debt in the hole this time last year.
Whoa.
Yep. And I got out of it completely, back, in the positive. So a lot can change in a year if you just put one foot in front of the other and just work on everything that you can control. And I say that because I have a feeling that a lot of people listening to this, may be in a similar situation, and just understand with the knowledge and daily action, you can get out of it a lot quicker than you think.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, Jonathan. Yes, sir. Well, thank you for being on the show. We will have to do this again. I'm gonna have to come visit you in real life, maybe at the
Anytime.
RTA Summit or something. But thank you for being here, Jonathan, and using your voice. You brought a lot of truth today, bro. Like, I loved it, and it's important that we share our voice. And we will see you guys on the next show. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.